Shula. Testing. Drummers are ready? Okay, gentlemen, I'm going to ask everybody to go take their seat. We'll get started here today. We're going to start her off with some Flying Dust drummers. And then we're going to go over to Richard, Vice Chief, is going to say a few words, and then the MLA. So just ask everybody to take their seat. Pay attention. Early morning. Good stuff. So once again, I want to welcome you all to the Dealing with Root Issues, Every Man's Journey Men's Conference here, 2022, held by the MLTC. Shout out to the ladies that put this together. We're going to open this up with the Flying Dust Drum Group here this morning. Ask everybody to stand up as we honor the heartbeat of Mother Earth, the drum. Take it away. It's all yours. Cha. Okay, good stuff. Okay. Tonight, okay. Cool, good stuff, Nezu. Masi Cho, Flying Dutch Drummers. At this time, I'm gonna call up the Vice Chief, Richard DeRoche here. He's gonna speak on, say a few words here this morning. He's got a time limit, he knows about it.
Aho, as my good buddy here, Willis, would say, aho. Yeah, how about that Willis guy? Let's give him a hand. He's doing an awesome job. The second time I told him we co-emceed with him at the residential school conference in Bouval about a month and a half ago. And I said, boy, you're an awesome MC. Keep it up. And here he is now emceeing our big conferences. Local boy right from Clearwater Dene Nation. So right on. And he's got a podcast, Dene Yate. You see him on TikTok. He's got his own TikTok. Check him out. Interesting guy. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Our numbers have diminished a little bit. But as Don Burnstick said, the ones that are here want to be here and want to change. Right on. Give yourself a hand for that, for being here again today. You know, I got interviewed yesterday by CBC. CBC called me and interviewed me about this conference. And they asked me some questions that made me think. They asked me about mainstream society and what they thought of us men, First Nations men. And I told them, the perception that mainstream society has on our men is not the perception we have. Sure, we are hurt, but we are resilient. We are going to move forward. We are going to get better. And the reason we're going to get better is for the little people walking in our houses, the little people in our daughters and our sons' houses. That's the reason we're going to get better. We want better life for those children. We don't want them to grow up the way we grew up, with that hurt, with that anger. We want them to be proud of who they are, not ashamed. You know, this morning I'm a little bit triggered by this morning, actually, and I brought it up when I was lining up in the food line. Because when you went to residential school, we had to line up like that. You got portioned. And it kind of bothered me a little bit. I know our caterers are doing the best they can, but just that sense of that 1 minute of vulnerable. I was vulnerable for 1 minute. It made me think negatively. That's a small example. That's a small example of control. And those are the fights we fight every day. And the more we recognize it, the more we honor who we are and bring us past that and bring us further on that, they're going to be strong and have stronger families and stronger grandkids and stronger kids. You know, CBC asked me, as I indicated, how does mainstream society see us? And I told them, the people they see are not the people I see. I see men fighting for their families. I see men honoring their women. I see men moving towards a better life. We're not perfect. No way are we perfect. I'm not perfect. I've been at this for about 30 years for a better life for my family. You know, I still struggle today with being triggered like I did this morning. I still work at that. Because this didn't happen to us in one day. That's what I told them. We're not going to change in one day. It's going to take us a long time to change, to get better. You think about it, some of these young people here this morning, they're third, maybe fourth generation away from residential school. And I guarantee you, they're affected just about every day from the effects of residential school. And that's called intergenerational trauma. We heard a couple speakers speak about it yesterday. And I wanted the young people here to understand what that means. Jealousy, disrespecting your woman, disrespecting your parents, disrespecting your grandparents. That's not yours. But it's for you to conquer it. It came from your grandfather, your great-grandfather, your father, and you. And it comes down to you. But it's up to you to change it. Or else you're going to pass it on to your son. And I don't blame you one bit. I don't blame you. But we have to change. We have to change. Or else we're going to be the angry guy. You see Don Burnstick here yesterday. Done an awesome Don Burnstick done an awesome job yesterday on bringing up the hard topics. And he done it in a good way. Those are hard topics he was talking about. Those are honest topics. As you go through your healing journey, you know exactly where they are in your life. Where those situations are. When you're a young man, can you believe it? I was a young man at one time. Anyways, when I was young and I first started dating my wife is a good looking lady, not what? Whoa. Anybody that knows my wife, you have to keep quiet now.
You got caught.
My wife is a beautiful lady. But when I was 19 years old and I started dating her, I couldn't handle that. I was a jealous man. Today, it doesn't bother me one single bit. But it took me a long time to learn that. It took me about 10 years to accept that I was living with a beautiful lady and she's going to get talked to and she's going to get, by other men. And I believe that's our biggest issue when we're young men. Is to control that. It's to accept that and change it. I learned two things yesterday that I've never thought of before. Delano Mike, another awesome presentation yesterday. making our house into a home. As men, the women own the home. The women look after our home. The women look after the babies when they're hurt. The women look after the children when they're hurt. The women look after the house totally. But who protects the home? We do as men. So it's up to us to aid in that, making a house a home. A home where love is in the four walls, where safety is in the four walls. That is our job as men, to protect, to provide. Think about that. Making a house a home. The other one was, geez, now I forgot it. But you know, I'm just going to read what happened yesterday. No. Rod Thomas's story. Oh, fella, good morning, Rod. Said good morning, shook his hand this morning, thanked him for his presentation, asked him how his evening, he had a good sleep, he's ready for another day. You heard all the hurt that he went through. Did you see him hurt here? He smiled, confident. Went through that. The reason he can do that, he did his work. He's not perfect, like he said. He's not perfect, but he's doing his work every day to make himself better. And what did you say you were, 82? 82 years old, Rod? Or 88? 88. 88 years old. Still making those changes to make himself better. This isn't going to happen overnight, boys. It's going to take a while. See, I don't see no sign yet that says 2 minutes. So, you know, I encourage you all again today. Listen with open hearts. Listen with open minds. And please take this home. Every one of our communities need yous. You fellas sitting out here as leaders in our communities. You don't have to wear a bonnet to be a leader. I know many leaders sitting out here right now that I consider leaders. You know, my great friend, Escapius over there, where is he? Sidney Ben. He's a leader in his field. Best Escapius I know. You know, he does all our pipe ceremonies, all our ceremonies. He's the best in that. I look at my good friend over here, Ugama. Stand up, give yourself a wave there, Ugama. You know, young recording artist, speaks a lot of events. Young man, taking upon himself to live a better life, help everybody else live a better life. I look at my good friend over here, Muggy. Lawrence, stand up, Lawrence. Works for our youth in Meadow Lake, works for our youth in Flying Dust, and I think he's been to every one of our communities in Meadow Lake Tribal Council, helping the youth. He still thinks he's young, by the way, but some begs different. Are you old enough to be here, they asked you? You know, just leaders in our communities. Your communities need yous. Take the stuff home. I heard that gentleman in the back, the gray-haired gentleman speak yesterday in Cree. He said it perfect. He said it perfect. Great stuff. We need to take it home. We need to teach it. Well, that was you. Sorry. That was you that spoke yesterday. Yeah. That Limna spoke yesterday. You know, those are the kind of words of wisdom that we need. Take it home. If there's 4 of you in your community, and the 4 of you are here today, I guarantee you in a month there's going to be 8 of you. You know, there's our communities are bombarded with alcohol, drugs, especially now. We need to bring them young men up, raise them young men up, raise them up to the warriors they're meant to be, that the Creator intended them to be. Not the drug dealers, not the drug users, not the abusers. That's not who the Creator intended us to be. The Creator intended us to be good, solid, caring, loving, protecting, providing men for our families. So, have a great day. Please take this stuff home. What you learn here, please take it home. Start a group. We need it. Our families need it. Our communities need it. Our grandchildren need it. Our great-grandchildren need it. Because you don't want your grandchildren to feel the way you felt. I know us as men, thought you loved your children. Wait till you have grandchildren. Those are the ones that tear you up, that make you want to be bitter. With that, gentlemen, have yourself a great day. I have to be in PA tomorrow to speak at another conference. Have yourself a great day today. Enjoy your time together. Aho.
Masi Cho, Masi. It's Richard DeRoche. Thank you for your kind words. Masi Cho. He still thinks he's young, boy, long-winded. Hey. Alrighty, at this time, I'm going to call up our MLA SAS Party representative from Clearwater River Dene Nation, Jim LeMay. Let's give him a big warm welcome.
Well, mercy don't think it does so no I know how yes ha. Don't eat and then as see had already home don't at that 8 you na coin don't as see how shall liga yet today as let's at the low as let's down and that it like jade as you will live on in the knee a ye ha hotila don't eat and as the low they are two as your time. I use assets I killed and Hayatines I have mercy less than that. Thank you for this opportunity to address such a gathering. I've been visiting many communities since February, and almost every community that I visit talk about what is wrong in our community. I hear and listen to what people identify are the issues in their community. And then they ask, how could we work together? Every community that I visit echoes the same thing. How can we do it together? Which sends me a strong message, we're not in isolation, that we are committed. And when we see conference like this, it is evident that we want things to be different. And when we talk about things being different, what does that look like? I'll share a little bit of my own story of my household. It was like night and day from the time my parents quit drinking to when they were. I was more of the fortunate one in my family that my parents, for a good part of my life, had quit drinking. And now that I go into the communities, people say, who's your father? Because they can recognize. I say who my dad is, George LeMay. And they say, oh, what a nice guy. The respect. And that I carry with me. My dad set a strong foundation for me at home. If something was wrong in my household, it was my dad that apologized first. He would take ownership of what happened, he would apologize, and we moved on. And that is something that I carry with me constantly. And it was my mother who said, because we know most times that mothers are the disciplinarians at home. My mom said, what I did was not right. What I did was not right. And that I carry with me today. So now I have children, I have grandchildren, and what I have to acknowledge how far we've come as First Nation, as Métis, as Inuit people. I attended residential school conference MLTC put on. I also attended Alacross's acknowledgement of their boarding school last week. And I listened and I hear, and it's almost every visit that I've gone into a community, they talk about the effects of that era. It's an ugly part of our history. Now, some of us like me have inherited, what do we do with this now? How do we move forward? Some of you might have participated this summer when the Pope visited and apologized. And I know years ago, the government of Canada apologized. So what does that look like? What it looks like is what I see in the crowd now. How we move forward. What does our future look like? All of us can speak and know what our history is and what it's done to us and what it means to us. But the challenge to us now is, what do we do for our children? What do we do for our grandchildren? So when they are at home, they feel safe. When they are in their community, they feel safe. It is all of our responsibility that we have to take ownership. The communities that I go into that have taken ownership of their issue and want to deal with things, I see it clearly when I go into a community. Those that are struggling, those that are challenged, I see it when I go into your community. And now, how do we get through this together? How do we see our tomorrow? How do we want our children to feel in our community, in our home? And how do we make them citizens that are contributing healthy to our communities? Ask yourself that when you go home. And ask yourself, what am I going to do so my child feels safe? I was a police officer for years. I was also a mental health therapist for years. I will tell you something. To go into a home because things went sideways because of alcohol, and when there's children running in the house, what they saw that evening or that morning or any time of the day, it never leaves them. So if you put your family through that, it's your responsibility now. What do I do to make it better? I see throughout my visits how far we've come, and I see the hope in our communities. When I see the women wearing the ribbon skirt, when I hear the drums being played, I see the powwow regalias, I see the elders being respected, that gives me hope. And each and every one of us in this room have that capability. And each of our community has it within us to establish that and move forward. Our history is ugly. Our history is pain. But let's commit that our future is not that of pain, is not that of hurt. But what our future will look like is that we take ownership of what's gone wrong, we make it working towards it to make it right together, and let's achieve this. I sat in La Ronge. I'm sure some of you had heard Men of the North group. About 40 men come together once a week. They talk about issues. It's not a form of therapy, but they give themselves an opportunity to sit together, listen, guide each other. And as I observed, I heard one of them talking about the relationship issues he's having, and then somebody giving them advice. Take it or not, he said. They listened to each other, and they had exercises they did, they ate together, and then they went their separate ways. And I see them in the community. We have it in all of us to be contributors like that. And we have it in all of us that if we want things to be different, we take ownership of it and we move forward. If we do not do that, as a police, to get the drugs and the alcohol and all of those issues, but it's not the police officers, it's not the government, it's you guys that know in your community who does it, who provides it. Take ownership of that. And together, let's do something about it. As I go into your communities, as I listen, it's my responsibility that I take it back to Regina with the government that I sit in. And how can we do it? How can we do it together? And with every ministry that I work with, they ask me, so what can we do? What can we do? So I ask the people that I trust, what is it that you want in your community? The first thing that is set is a treatment center, mental health facility. People recognize what the issue is, but let's not forget that we also have it in us that we can come together and help each other with drugs, with alcohol. We can support each other. That's where it starts. It started in my household, echoes into the community. The way I was raised, some things were right, some things were wrong. I made decisions with my family, some will be right, some will be wrong. But when I see my son graduating as a nurse, that's giving me a sense of hope that maybe I've done something right. When I see my daughter, 21 years old, trying to figure out what she wants to do in life. And you know, I see my grandson started kindergarten and my son dropping him off. And I hear the stories of the residential school. I count my blessings that we're able to do that. Our children will never, ever experience that again. They'll never, ever experience that again. So as we move forward, let's be contributors to our community and our children as healthy men, as contributing men, so we don't have to put our children through what we've gone through. And as I part with you, I'll be here most of the day. I like to listen to these things and when people speak. And I always look for something that I take away. So I've learned something. And something that I heard this morning was about the triggers that happened. If we don't identify what our triggers are, we easily turn to other things to numb that. Let's give ourselves an opportunity to listen and hear what our triggers are so we can get through today. We have been hurting for a long time, but our future doesn't mean we have to. And it doesn't mean we have to hurt each other. So each of you that have been here for the 3 days, go back into your community, look around, the stuff you've heard from here, and ask yourself, what can I do? Because when I go into your community, I hear all the time. But when I say, what is it you want in your community? People struggle answering that. But there are some communities that are doing amazing work. English River First Nation, I speak of all the time about how many per capita in their First Nation people are highly educated. Clearwater River Nation is the only school in Canada from pre-K to master's program taught in our community in our own language. We offered university programming. Right now, Cumberland House is doing the same thing. English River, Buffalo River, all the communities that I go into. If you want to know what it looks like when the community takes ownership and does things differently, take a look at Pine House. In 1970 something, Fifth State did a documentary on Pine House. And what the world saw was this community struggling with alcohol. It wasn't pretty. And I heard earlier about women taking control. It was the women in that community that said, enough is enough. We don't want our future to look like this. Now, 40 years later, we also heard earlier about be patient. 40 years later, look at what Pine House is able to do now. Every Monday, they come together, police, school, social workers, whatever services come together every morning on Monday and talk about what they've gone through, if there's issues in the weekend, and then they talk about what their week is going to look like. How can they support each other? I'll wrap this up with this example at Pine House. Money was in the community. It was over the weekend. Some household had a huge party. Kids were in the house. Police were called. They had to intervene. So Monday morning, it was brought to the table. They mentioned the household, who it was. And then the social worker and our family services and the elder said, well, this is not a household that does this. Let's see what's going on. Let's pay them a visit. Let's sit down with them and hear and see why this happened over the weekend. So they go over there and have a discussion. They figure it out. Kids weren't taken. Family now can be supported. That is a good example of ownership when you start owning your issues. All of us have that capability. But as you finish off tomorrow, you go into your communities, what I do ask of you is think about what you could do. Think about how you can give back to your community. Because our pain will always be there, but what our future looks like is in all of our control. Thank you.
Must-see Cho, Mr. Jim LeMay, MLA for, is it Athabasca? Then it says, yeah, that one. Hey. So with that, Must-see Cho for the kind words. Already, we had a couple of speakers touch on, it's getting heavy already, it's, if anybody, is triggered by, I'm gonna ask the support workers to stand up. We've got a few here. Spurgeon? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. So if you're looking to talk to anybody, if you're triggered, you can take one of these gentlemen aside and talk and listen to each other for a moment, and it'll be good. So I've got a few affirmations here we're going to say all together as we get into our first presenter, Dr. Apinga. Is it? Yeah, okay. So the first one, everybody's going to say it with me. It's, I am strong. I am strong. Sir, how do you say strong in Cree? Okay. I am lovable. I am important. I have worth. I'm a good berry picker. Hey, Safeway has the best one, he says. It's okay. It's all good. So with that, I'm going to introduce our first presenter here this morning. It is root health issues. So low testosterone, erectile dysfunction, STI. He come all the way from British Columbia to be here with us today. Here, Dr. Apinga. Let's give him a warm welcome, gentlemen. Must-see show for being here. You want to be down there? He's got a PowerPoint, I believe, presentation. And following Dr. Apinga, that we're going to have a break at 10:30, and then we're going to have some questions with him. So make sure you use your notepad and write them down. Good to go. You want wireless?
Yeah, maybe I'll pop her up here. All right. Masi Cho. In Haida, we say Hawa for thank you. And I believe I'm on the first slide there. And we didn't have a slide clicker, so I just have to say change slides. But I don't know where my lady is there. Geneva. But it's an honor to be here. Obviously, sorry for the start there. And I'm from Haida Gwaii. You can go to the next slide. And that is my mother and my father. So my name is Dr. Peter Apinga. And my Haida name is Golden Eagle, named from my mom, which means Oat Gulas, which is Golden Eagle. And that's my mom there. She's a residential school warrior, a survivor, and obviously did not have a very good experience in residential school. She had to drop out of school in grade 6, so she had limited ability to read and write, abused by a priest, and everything was affected from her life from that point forward. And then she met my father, and they were kind of into drugs and alcohol. They made some changes in their life with the Creator and stopped drinking altogether when she had my oldest brother, which is Albert, and my middle brother is Heber, and then I'm the youngest, and my name's Peter. The one thing that my mom, she wasn't able to read or write. I keep all of her little notes because, and I'm not judging anybody in any way, because she couldn't spell right and all that stuff. And so the one thing that she always said to her children in a sober mind and in a clear mind was that you could do anything that anybody on this planet does. The only thing is that you could actually do it better than anybody else. And she kept on saying that to me as a younger child, and as the gentlemen were up here talking, how much that affects you. My father never spoke one word that was bad to me. He always spoke good things into my life, and that's all they did. And then I had a stable home, and I was able to learn to read and to write and to do the very best. They actually gave me an IQ test. It's not because I'm smart. My mom is from residential school. We all have the same brain, but I worked hard. And then they gave me this little test, and they scored high in the IQ and put me into a different class. And all this stuff affected me as a child so that I could see myself becoming a medical doctor. I used to be involved as a delinquent teenager, but I'm not going to even go into my life because we are talking about certain things. But there are changes that can happen when the father or whoever the father figure is in the house speaks into their child's life. My father had a stroke. That was my mom eating crab because she almost died of heart failure during that time, but the only thing that she wanted to eat was crab. She had diarrhea for 5 weeks. Her heart was failing. And as soon as she had her seafood, because the Haida Gwaii, the Haida people are on the west coast of BC. You guys probably would refer to us as water Indians, but that's who we are. We always lived on the water. We carved out canoes and traveled all the way down to Hawaii and to Vancouver. And so we'll go to the next slide. So these are my two cars. I grew up on the reservation. I lived in a house where my dad was on welfare and he paid $32 a month in rent. But she always spoke into my life, and I always said to my friends, I want to drive a Lamborghini on the reservation, just because we were into cars as little kids in the sandbox and everything else. And so what I'm doing now is I'm going to give one of these away. And those are from my cousin, Roger Smith. He did a frog, because we got 4 clans: frog, eagle, beaver, and scalpin are my 4 clans from the Chief Leah clan. And then I always kept my name to be proud of who I am. I could have called it many different things, but I called it Gwai Medical Center, which means the clinic of the people, because Haida Gwaii means the island of the people. And so every time when I come into my little offices that I have, I just love hearing they're like, this is Gwaii Medical Center, and it's like they're speaking my language. And other people working for you, it's like the coolest feeling. It's nothing to brag about, and I'm not even here to try to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you what you guys could do and what you could do in your community as well. So the first Haida kid to graduate from school, go into medical school, finish medical school, I'm definitely going to either get them. These are going to be dated Lamborghinis at some point. The green one, they only made 2,600 of those in the world. So it's more of a museum piece now. But yeah, we have a lot of fun with cars. So we'll go to the next slide. So we have another clinic called Skin Precision MD. That's where I'm dressed more into the world, whatever you want to call. And then that's Katie. She's my main nurse for injections. And these are just things to show that, yeah, we're in the business world and we could do anything that anybody else does, but only we do it better. And we'll go to the next slide. And so this is a campaign that I started because when my cousin Ryan committed suicide when I grew up on the res, we loved WWF at the time when we were really little. My dad still thinks it's real, but it's not. And then we would like play wrestle all the time, and then we got into MMA fighting and everything else. But Ryan was my little minion, and this kid would fight like I've never seen. Like I don't encourage this, but it's just what we do. And it was more fun and play. But he would not stop, like so hardcore, like resilient and yeah, just so strong. And then one day I was in my 4th year of medical school, and then I found out that he had committed suicide. I'm trying not to cry right now, but when he committed suicide, I felt it affected my spirit so much, I kind of fell to the ground. And now I swear and say and use the anger towards it, but I said, we have to make a change. And that's what all this is about over there, is prevention of suicide. And many of you have dealt with it. And suicide is 100% preventable. Thank you. And suicide is 100% preventable. And we can prevent it in our communities. And drugs and alcohol don't help it. And so always loving ourselves all the time. And if anything, when you leave this conference, the number one thing that you never, ever, 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 ever do is to say one bad thing about yourself, ever. Because I know what it would feel like to have people speak into your life and say, and nobody is that here, but they might have said you're dumb, you're stupid, or you're ugly, or whatever it is. But you never speak bad about yourself, ever. If that's the one thing that you leave, you never speak bad about yourself. And your choices every day affect your destiny. Decisions will equal your destiny. There are things that you decided to do, a partner to marry, a job to go into, a career to go into, that you made a decision and that affected the rest of your entire life. It was a decision that some people made, either on drugs or alcohol, that put them in jail or put them in school to stop it. And so a decision will determine your destiny. There's much more to that, but I'm just trying to keep it very simple. I'm not even on topic, and I got to go in, like, we got to finish this in 20 minutes. So go to the next slide. So this one is, what is like low testosterone and the causes. Just gonna grab this. And so if you guys, so now I'm getting into the medical part of it, but I just wanted to introduce, got pretty emotional. I was basically on a high with Don Burnstick, like just laughing, and then lows. And so we are emotional creatures. As men and as women, we are emotional. We're always experience one emotion at a time. You're either happy, you're sad, you're excited, you're surprised. You could feel lonely, you could feel guilty, all of these things. We are emotional creatures. It doesn't mean we're little pansy little wimps, but we have to understand that we are emotional. We're switching one emotion for another one at all times. You could be here and feel content, get into your car and get rage. And then other people will try to change the emotion of feeling lonely or depressed by picking up a beer can or a beer bottle to change the emotion. But at the same time, just talking with your healthcare professional, beautiful elders that you trust and spiritual leaders about how you're feeling and how you can make your changes in your emotion. And motion creates emotion. So when you go for a run, when you go hunting, when you go exercising, when you go for a hike, when you move your body, that is doing a lot in your body. It's releasing something, a big fancy term called brain-derived neurotrophic factor. I'm going to talk about this more tomorrow. I'll stick with testosterone. But motion creates emotion. We are emotional creatures. Understanding our emotions as men is important. Does not mean we're weak. It actually means we're smarter, more intelligent, and stronger. And so low testosterone is something that can affect us. It doesn't really affect my Aboriginal patients more than like my Caucasian people, but it can affect Native men as well. And so what is low testosterone? An example would be, if you could remember when you were, when you're like 21, 19 years old, when I was able to play 5 soccer games in 2 days. I was able to study for an exam. For you, it might have been you went hunting for 3 days. You were able to drum. You were able to go to the gym, work out. You were able to be intimate with your partner. And at the same time, you were able to, with testosterone, maintain an erection and keep the erection and then go to bed and then wake up and repeat it again. What is that an example of when you're 21 or 19 years old? That's an example of testosterone. So if you have low testosterone, things can happen in your body as well. Emotionally, you could have brain fog. When I give testosterone to older gentlemen, their mind becomes much more clear. You obviously have low sex drive, libido. You have decreased results in the gym if you're working out. You feel moody. And then it's different for everybody. So everybody has different testosterone levels for your body size and everything else. It's usually highest in the morning. That's why we get those morning erections, usually at 8 a.m. at the time. Things that could decrease testosterone from some studies talk about soy and tofu, that could lower testosterone. Poor sleep, stress. If you're stressed out in your community with finances or whatever it is, that releases cortisol, which is a kind of an analog towards testosterone and competes with it, and that'll make you feel down as well. Processed foods, so that's things where like salami, McDonald's, and all that stuff will decrease it as well. And yeah, love you, brother. Thank you. And then alcohol consumption. So this is chronic alcohol consumption. And getting wisdom or aging. So once you turn 30, your testosterone will decrease by about 1% per year. And we'll go on to the next slide. So there are ways to increase your testosterone. And so where I was mentioning, you want to decrease the stress levels, and that's talking about how you're doing emotionally, either with your spouse or whoever it is that you trust, one of your good friends, and just talking about it. And it does, like, we're different. I know men are different. Like when we get together, we don't talk about like, or how you feeling, Don, how you feeling, Rob. Like we usually talk about objects like far away from us. When women come together, it's different. They do talk about interpersonal relationships, and it's good to talk about that as well. So just kind of changing what we talk about is important. And when you have good sleep, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, one of my idols, he's a neurosurgeon, they're discovering a lot more about sleep and what's happening in the brain, what's actually happening within our cerebral spinal fluid that goes all the way down to like our lower buttock and then back up. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on there. And then when you weight lift, that will also increase testosterone. So that's usually when you like weight lift with your legs or like big muscles like your back or your chest. And the most important thing is a healthy, balanced diet. And then vitamin D, I've been finding is very low in many of my Aboriginal population. And that's because we got the most beautiful skin on the planet. It's brown, but it doesn't convert the vitamin D with the sun. And when you're higher up, it's even worse. And vitamin D is a hormone that we don't really understand. It also increases testosterone. So one thing is never say anything bad about yourself ever, 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 ever again. And it may take some time and change because your brain is used to thinking that way. And number two is take vitamin D, 1,000. It's not milliliters, they call it international units. So 1,000 international units per day. And they found that that also helped fight COVID with vitamin C as well. So it's important to have a well, healthy, balanced diet. Then we'll go on to the next slide. And so is it safe to take testosterone? Now, so I'm a big, now I'm kind of more comfortable there. I was kind of emotional. But I'm a big advocate for testosterone. But I give it to people who actually medically need it though. So because women have a lot. If they have a baby, they're in contact with the doctor all the time. They have Pap tests that they have to do, and that's for screening of cervical cancer. Things that need to be screened for is prostate cancer and colon cancer. But women have the Pap test and the breast exams. So they're always in contact, but I never meet the men. The men rarely come around. They come around when usually like a heart attack is knocking on the door or death is knocking on their door. And it's okay to talk to the doctor. And if you got any doctors that you want to complain about, let me know because I'll personally call them too. But I want you to be comfortable in the medical facility. I don't want you to feel judged or ever to be called it. Like the stupidest question we could ask is are you drinking? We're finally making changes throughout the emergency rooms in BC. And so never be judged, feel comfortable with your doctor. And if you don't, then truly let me know who they are because I will contact them because I want that to be gone. And there is institutional racism. There are things where they judge you. They might do something like, yeah, so I don't want any of that crap happening. And then, so is it safe to take it? Yes, it is 100% safe to take, but you don't want to be in high ranges of dosing. So usually it's 70 milligrams of the testosterone per day that you want to kind of supplement with. But your body, so if it's something where it's low, and it can be low in some Aboriginal men, and as we get older as well, that we're only putting back into the body what your body already produced. So it's nothing that we're not changing anything. And like some people ask, does it cause prostate cancer? First of all, you do have to get your prostate checked by a blood test before you take it because we don't want to make sure you have anything because it can make the cancer worse if you have it. But if it does not cause prostate cancer whatsoever. And then the other thing was you could take it by injection, so usually intramuscular. You could take it by pill form or by gels where it's called androgel and they put it on your shoulders. We'll go on to the next slide. So the side effects of testosterone is one that it can increase DHT, which I'm not going to even pronounce what that word is, but it's not a healthy molecule. It will also, you know how they say you get the rage and then you get the acne on the back? That's because it's increasing fat in what we call our sebaceous glands, and then that will cause the acne on the back. That's if you're at high doses, though. It also will cause gynecomastia, which is like and breast tenderness in men, because when testosterone's at too high of a level, it will also turn into estrogen. It'll also increase hematocrit, and so hematocrit is your kind of blood volume. So the way you treat that is you just take blood out, and it also can lead to testicular atrophy, which means smaller testicles, and then that would also lead to infertility. And so there are treatments for if you're a young man and you truly need testosterone that we could give certain medications to help keep your fertility as well. And then I've had patients in their 70s and 80s, and it definitely helped a lot with their mood, their bone health, and then muscles, but most of all, it helped them keep a healthy lifestyle with working with and this has to be with a medical doctor. And then they always say I always want my Indigenous elders to age gracefully and to be strong and still strong in their hearts. Or then the other choice is that you could also age as a grumpy old man, and we don't want that because testosterone can make you feel a lot better. And then the next subject, I know these are kind of funny. Well, I was just sticking to the topic there, but it's erectile dysfunction is the next one. It's that one. It's here. I always keep a picture of something that motivates me, like on my Instagram. My Instagram is mainly things that will motivate me. So this is a little picture that I got over there. It's because we are doing it for these little guys here in our future generation. And you can make a change right now because a decision will determine your destiny. So if you decide to change today, this week, and go back and make changes in your house, it will change the entire structure of your household, your reserve, and where you come from. What are the things that could cause erectile dysfunction? Usually it's diabetes. So the diabetes is high blood sugars in the body, and that will damage the micro vessels that are in the phallus or the penis there. And over time, it's usually like having it for 10 years, and that can happen. So then you got vascular erectile dysfunction. You could get neurogenic erectile dysfunction. So that's usually if you've had like a prostatectomy, if you've had prostate cancer, they take out the prostate, it ruins the nerves around the genitals, and that would cause it as well. Then there's the hormonal part. That's very like low testosterone stuff going on. And then the other common one is psychogenic. So I have a lot of young guys coming in asking where Don Bird's stick, and I'll go into the dangers of taking Viagra and Cialis, but it was funny hearing his stories. But psychogenic is another one too. That's just where you just have anxiety over performance and all that stuff. And the other thing is pornography. If you look at too much pornography, it's out there. It's $1 billion industry. But if it's too much, then you're not even attracted to your own partner anymore because you're always imagining being with somebody else. And then it could also lead to infidelity, where you just more variety and then you go cheat your spouse. There's lots to control with pornography as well. And then you could go to deviation of like the darkest stuff that you've ever seen on the internet as well. But I mean, that'll be for you to, but just watching for that. And then number one, what is an erection? I know this is kind of weird, but it's not weird because we all have erections, and sex is an important part of our life. We're all here because of sex. We're intimate with our partners. So it is an important part of our life, important part of our relationship and our family life. Not something to be a douchebag and go around sleeping with everybody and blah, blah, blah. It's something to enjoy and to be with. So what is an erection? Number one, you got to be aroused. So that's usually like you see something, you feel something, hear something, smell something, you get aroused. Number two is that whatever these drugs are doing, it's releasing nitric oxide. So nitric oxide, which I've had in one of my Honda Preludes, but this is different in our body, is the ignition for it. And so the erection then releases chemical messengers, and the fancy term for it is cyclic guanosine monophosphate, so CGMP. And then that will cause the smooth muscles in the penis to relax, and then blood goes into the penis, and then the veins kind of lock it in. So that's how you get the erection. And then we lose an erection from the response it's a neurogenic response from when you ejaculate. And then when you get a decrease in that fancy molecule called CGMP and nitric oxide. And we'll go to the next slide. And so what's the treatment for it? Because sex is important and being intimate with your partner is important. So everybody knows about usually Viagra. That's the one that's been around for the longest. That's the one that we have the most amount of information on when it comes to medical knowledge. The other one is Cialis. And then there's another one called Levitra, and then there's some other things that you could do as well. But basically, Viagra is something to talk about if you're struggling with any of this stuff. You just openly talk about it with your doctor. And once again, if they're not talking or you feel uncomfortable, let me know, because I do want to know. And not like I could do anything, but make a phone call for sure. But Viagra, and then taking it on an empty stomach or a light meal. So if you take Viagra with like a fatty meal, it loses its what we call efficacy of the drug, so it's not working as good as it was. Viagra is on demand, so if you're going to have a planned intimate time with your partner, then you take it 1 hour or half an hour before, and it will last about 4 hours in the bloodstream. And you cannot take any of these medications if any of you take nitro spray for like a heart condition. So it's called being contraindicated. Cialis is the one that Don Burnstick was joking about. That one does last for a long time in the body for 36 hours, and you could also take it daily. So it's something that you could take at 5 milligrams every single day, and that allows for spontaneity within the relationship. And then other forms of treatment for erectile dysfunction would be, they do suppositories. So these are guys who've been through cancer and everything. And sex is going to be important to them too, where you put put it up the penis and that will actually release the drug there. There's one where it's intracavenosus injection. So that's like injecting into the top of the penis, and the needles are really small and fine. You can't even feel it. And I might be talking to somebody that needs to hear this too. Then there's penile vacuum pumps and penile prosthesis as well. And then the big danger of it all is the propriism, and that's where Don Bernstick was saying to have an erection for 4 hours. It was a joke, but don't ever let it go for 4 hours, because that is an actual medical emergency where it will damage the tissue in the penis, causing irreversible damage to it. So, and it's usually that will only happen if you're overdosing in these kind of drugs. And we'll go on to the next one. And I'm coming to a conclusion, and it's 10:30 for the break here soon. So this one is STIs. I don't want to go too much into this, but things that you don't want to get would be HIV. You could get chlamydia and gonorrhea, which is just like basically simple treatments for them, but we do have to report it to the Center of Disease Control. If you ever were to get chlamydia or gonorrhea, there's no judgment. There's nobody, you're never to be judged in any medical clinic, but do not have more intimate relationships, because I remember one of my cousins had something and he kept sleeping around and was denying that he didn't have it when people were trying to contact him. So get treated. It's simple. It's like 2 pills for that one and 4 pills for chlamydia. And then and those are easily transmissible to females. And if they get it, then they get pelvic inflammatory disease. They have trouble with pregnancy. The kid could get very sick. And then you don't want HIV. And then syphilis is another one where it could present as anything. And that's a special test that we have to do. Like it's a weird one. It causes neurogenic heart stuff, everything in your body it could cause. And then hepatitis B, you don't want hep C. That's going to cause liver cancer. And then herpes is the other one. There's herpes type 1, herpes type 2. Type 1 is usually the one where we get the cold sores in our mouth, and type 2 is down in the genital area. But if you have a cold sore and you have oral sex with somebody, you can still transmit that cold sore herpes type 1 to your partner, or she could transmit it to you. So there's never enough education in life. Like there's truly never. The more that you're educated, the better it is. And so preventing herpes is important. The condom will prevent a lot as well, but it still won't prevent like things like herpes if you're having skin-to-skin contact. And then if you do get it, they do have to contact your partners in the past 3 to 6 months or so. And then I guess we're going to have a question period afterwards. I'm sorry for hitting you with this stuff, but a good thing is like a cheerful heart is good medicine. And then the love my life. And then I always say love, peace, and Ooligan grease. I don't know if you guys ever had Ooligan grease, but that's like a delicacy to the Haida people. It's like escargot kind of thing. And like we sell it for like $200 a jar. It's crazy, but it's good. So my grandmother, my nani is how we say it in Haida, always said love, peace, and Ooligan grease. And then hawa means thank you. And then we have the heart there, which is an eagle and a raven. And that's for the Love My Life suicide prevention. And that's always, I have shirts that say like, look up, be proud of who you are. I'm going to add things to things like you are strong, you're a warrior, you're smart, you're good looking. When like, it's true. The society has changed and we're being celebrated amongst many people, or they understand at least what the hell we've been through in our lives. And so now is the time to truly rise up and become the warriors that we always were. And you have so many wonderful leaders here and so many like beautiful people and kind. And I know I'm kind of a foreigner coming in here. I'm never trying to speak at you. I'm not even ever trying to impress you, but only to impress upon you what you guys are going to be doing in your nations as well. So give yourself a hand clap today. Sorry, it's pretty emotionally charged at the beginning. I don't always apologize, but I don't know, when Don Bernstick talked, that really resonated with me. And just how he delivered the message too was amazing. So thank you. Hawa.
Stuff.
Yeah, get this out of the way here.
We're just going to take a break and then you'll get questions after. Yeah. Okay. Okay, gentlemen. How about that? What do you guys think? You know, that's not something that's always talked about. I know we laugh and joke about this stuff, but in Denede, the horse kicked you. That's how we would say it. You know, it's something you joke about. But this is real stuff. It's real. You know, it happens every day. Yeah, it's very good. So with that, we're gonna have a break, and we're gonna come right back, and then we're gonna have questions for him. So as you go out and take a break, stretch out, have a cigarette, chew whatever you want. Think about a question to ask. I'm gonna go around with the microphone, and he'll be up here, and we'll do a question period, just like they do in Parliament, but medical. If we could just get the lights back on here. Where do we, Charmaine? No, there we go. Thank you. So after the ask the doctor, we ask our questions. We're going to have our next presenter is going to be Wilbert Billette. Willie Billette Denehone is going to be speaking at about 11:15. Roots of grief and loss, and then we're going to have lunch at 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock, we're going to have Indian tacos. Then some icebreakers and door prizes. We've got lots of door prizes here still today. Maybe we'll give away 8 of them. Tomorrow we're going to have that fishing tent. I got one of them. Never use it. Snowfish in Buffalo Pound Lake. I live in Moose Jaw. All you're going to get is weeds, so don't ever go there. You can go visit the tunnels, though. That's pretty cool. This afternoon, Robert Morasti, Roots of Guilt and Shame. And then Chief Cadmus DeLorme is going to be at 2 o'clock, so he's probably driving up. He came to the residential school conference in Beauval. He had a long day. He drove all the way from Cowessess, way down south, and then he drove home after his presentation. So he must be doing the same today. He's going to be at 2 o'clock. Then we're going to move Craig later on in the day, do another feedback session. We'll go around with the mic. So good stuff. Take a break. Clean the ears. Get ready to listen. Ask some questions. Aho. Anybody got some matches? We need some matches here for the smudge. We've got some smudge over on the left-hand side of me here. If we get some matches. Looks like we're going to have another booth set up there in the back. Oh, Lindsay's here. We've got HIV and AIDS awareness here. She'll be doing any testing. Anybody that wants to get tested, you can go and see Lindsay Aaron there from Keno Lake, all the way up there. And then we've got SASC Prevention. He's hiding behind this tent, I believe, here. We've got he's over here. You scared me. teleported across. So Dale Apsis, he's going to come up here probably during lunch hour and tell us a bit about the program he works with, SAS Prevention. And we'll get Lindsay to do the same here, a couple minutes during lunch hour. If you're new and just coming in, don't forget to register at the front there with the ladies. You got to register daily. Please register daily. Trying to take it home already. Oh, you need a new winch? 300, I'll give it to you. Oh, we got more prizes over here too. We got a fishing. Yep. Tomorrow. I live in Moose. I inside the pool. Oh yeah. Where are you from? Waterman. Yeah. Did you see that video? Those guys cheating on TikTok? No. You don't want TikTok? No. Okay, don't get addicted. But there's two guys there, fishing tournament. They stuffed weights in them. Then they got caught. Yeah. Crazy, eh? Yeah. Not really. Okay, gentlemen, if you can hear me, please make your way back into the Civic Center here. We're going to do a couple of giveaways here for tonight's movie. You get a free large popcorn and pop and chips and candy. Back then when you could get it for $2. So we're gonna do, Dr. Apinga is gonna come up here, but I'm gonna go walk around with the mic. And we're gonna do a moose call. Who's got the best moose call here? Right over here? Moose call right here. You're gonna win a free large popcorn and a drink.
Okay. Any kind of moose call?
Masicho, good stuff. Okay, who's, let's see, what do we got up next? Maybe a jig, eh? Who wants to do a jig? The best jig, right there. Right there, he got his hand up here. We're gonna do a quick jig here. Let's go right now. Let's see it. Hey, win yourself a free popcorn and a free pop here today. What else we got? Powwow dancing? Anybody wants to powwow? Any type of dance here? Oh no, this guy right here. He's actually gone viral here. He's gonna show us his dance. His dance, yeah. Two things in your dance here. Real quick, show us. Without the music, what is it they do when you go at a cabbie?
We'll do the first two moves. First move is simple, and I'll do the second move. So the first move is just I taught people how to dance 5 dance moves. So here's the first move. Just move your body back and forth, right? Just calm. That's how you start. That's how it starts off. If you want to act things, you just throw in your arms, and that's the second move. That's how it goes. That's how you learn how to dance.
And that's how
it's done.
That's how it's done there, gentlemen. If anybody wants some dance moves here, he's gonna do on this afternoon during lunch hour. We got to squeeze in a few. What else we got? Another. Let's do another moose call, eh? Because it is the season for dry meat. Who's got that right here? You look like you know it. It's okay. Oh, he's getting old, that one here. Thank you, Masi. Good job. Let's give everyone a round of applause here, gentlemen. It's a lot of fun that you get a free popcorn, large, and a pop this evening for this movie, Grown Ups, I believe. Grown Ups. Okay, that's going to be at 7 o'clock. So we're going to get started with the question period, question hour. Anybody that wants to ask a question for Dr. Apinga relating to his presentation earlier, testosterone, Viagra, Cialis, any of that stuff, just raise your hand up and I'll bring the mic over to you. Right here, we've got the first one. You good to go? Oh, where's Ambrose here? Don't trip, Ambrose. We need you. He's got no right. I'll
Testing
come
one.
over to you next. So just raise
Okay.
your hand and then I'll come over to you
Testing
wherever you're
1,
seeing.
2, 3. Good.
Sounds good?
Okay. Can you hear pretty good? Yeah. You guys can hear in the back there too, or my voice carries okay? Oh,
Yeah, you
Yeah,
sound
it's
beautiful. I hope. Okay, first one here.
a little
Hello?
bit higher?
Huh?
Oh. Oh, that's good. Also, the gentleman here had a question too with the microphone. I'll get to you in one sec there too. No, I can't. It would not cause a heart attack, but if you have like severe heart disease, it could be dangerous. And so you'd have to definitely go over with the doctor on how to take it safely.
What are the long-term effects for a compression fracture?
Well, that's a good question too. Depending on the compression fracture, where it is, I guess it's in, and some of these questions are private, and I understand that. And if you guys write it down on a piece of paper and then give it to me or whatever, I'll try to respond. Or if you want to write it down, I could email you back too. I love that guy's sweater. The claw there.
Good.
Yeah, so any of these like hard questions and that you don't want to ask in public, I totally understand, but I do want to help you. So any questions you have, write it down on paper and I'll email it or try to talk to you right away about it too. Compression fracture, you're okay with, take it, is it somebody in your, I don't need to go know all the details, it's in the back or the neck?
T2.
Okay.
And the T2.
Long-term effects, it's depending on what kind of injury it was, how severe it was. But you got some of the best neurosurgeons who I've worked with actually before here in Saskatoon, in the world, some of them. So like sometimes it gets to a surgical fix. Other things are that you're just maintaining your core strength and everything else. Then there's obviously, if you're in severe pain, they call it radiculopathy symptoms and all that stuff. But the body in general does heal itself. Like our body is designed to heal itself. So if I have somebody with like a slipped disc in their lumbar back, but they're able to walk and move, the treatment is to try to just move as much as you can without causing too much pain. And then over time, the disc itself is like a hard, so you got your vertebrae and then you got a disc in between and then a vertebrae on top. I know I don't have any visuals. And then the disc is like this. And so it's hard and fibrous, like super hard if you ever touch it physically. But over time, if you had like a fracture towards the disc itself, or it'll start to break apart. And then we got a gelatin substance in that disc part in our neck, and that'll pop out. So they call that a disc protrusion. But over time, it dries up, sucks back in, and repairs itself. But it could take up to like 2 months. And you have to, yeah, definitely get checked out, make sure it's good and not causing too much trouble.
It's good. Okay, thank you for that. Thank you. That first question, we're going to go over here. Anybody that doesn't want to go on the mic, you can write it down. I can take it over to Doctor there.
Yeah, I just want to ask about smoking or cigarettes. How does it affect your performance and everything else?
Yeah, that's a good question too. So I know like a part of our culture and tradition, we use tobacco, but it's also using it responsibly. So it does cause a lot of trouble with like our vasculature within our hearts. We know it causes a lot of different types of cancers, so like lung cancer, bladder cancer, associated with just so many things because of the carcinogens within it. And it will definitely affect like the flow of the blood and everything else too. But I didn't go into like the molecular biology of it all though, but it definitely will affect it quite a bit. And I didn't talk about it in the presentation. I could have added it on there though.
Do you really need a surgery for a pinched nerve, or what causes it?
Yeah, that's a good question too. So the pinched nerve is where I was mentioning with the disc. So we got, I wish I had better pictures, but so you got these little bones that stick out here is a vertebrae, and then in between it is a disc, and then a vertebrae. So bone, disc. And so the pinched nerve most likely is where the disc itself is a little disc in between, where that got just worn and torn from work and from age and wisdom. And then over time, that does break apart, and then it's a fibrous part, and then the inside of it's a gelatin, and then that will break out and cause the disc protrusion, and then cause the nerve to be pinched off. And then over time, that will resect itself, but depending on what the mechanical injury is though too, like if there was a bone involved or a compression fracture, certain things, and that needs to be looked at by a specialist to give a better idea. You usually want to do medical treatment as much as you can. So that might be, never take narcotics. That should be the last effing thing to be taken. You could take other things like tramadol. You could take Advil, Tylenol 3s. And then other ones are, another fancy one's called gabapentin or Lyrica, and that's a nerve pain pill. But don't go to narcotics right away, and don't let any doctor give you the narcotic unless you truly need it. Because we obviously see that now as an addiction within our communities too. And many people I had in my practice was they had surgery and then had to go on narcotics and then got addicted to narcotics, or else they went to the Emerge and the docs at a quick ease because they're so busy, they just give a narcotic and then that person got addicted. So narcotic is, you go up the pain ladder scale. You start with the over-the-counter pain meds, and then other things like marijuana is medicine for people too, depending on how you take it. And it's been around for centuries. We produce all our narcotics in a chemical laboratory, but marijuana is naturally produced in our plants and has been around for centuries. I would never want a teenager to smoke it at a recreation, but it is medicine for some people though. And then, yeah, so the pinched nerve hopefully over time will go away, but if it's not, then there's imaging that you get. So you start with an X-ray, and then you could get into the James Smith Cree First Nation, like awesome. They opened up the CT and MRI center, a private one. And so the CT scan will give you, the X-ray looks at the bone, the CT scan basically looks at the bone too, but an MRI will actually look at your nerves. And the CT cannot pick up nerves and brain that well, but the MRI does. So I got to come up with an acronym to say that the MRI is like the gold standard that you want. And the James Smith Cree First Nation, you guys own one. And actually that's what I'm doing now in BC as well, to have our own kind of private surgical center and stuff like that for our own people to go to. That's a long-winded answer, but.
We're good?
But any like real questions too, and if you're concerned, just truly write it down on paper, because we're here to answer
Yep.
those.
I've got a couple on paper, but we've got a question here on the floor too.
Like you, I've lost a special person in my life, and this is recently for me. And because of that, I have a loss of appetite and loss of sleep. I've talked to a few people, and medication was recommended, but I don't believe in taking medication. Is there alternatives that I could use?
I love that question too. I don't believe in some of the medicine. Like, I believe in the medicine, but I'm not a pill pusher. So the pills should be the last thing that we should give somebody. Sometimes out of like laziness and just so busy in our clinics, we'll start pushing pills on people that we don't need to. Your number one thing is, I always see my patients as a biopsychosocial. So like the biology of your body. You've been through trauma, you lost somebody that you love, that's like, it's devastating for me. I like fell to the ground, and that's how devastating it was for me. So it's a real thing. And when you lose somebody like that, it affects the whole community, as we know. But medicine pills are the last thing that you need. But it may be the point where you would need that. But the first thing that you want to do is to be amongst your community, amongst your spiritual leaders, because you're biopsychosocial. And whatever that is that's comfortable for you, then that's a thing to go to talk to people that you're close to keep a balanced diet, and to exercise where you can. I'm talking to myself too. It's hard to exercise sometimes. Those will all help with our neurotransmission. And then we also have neurotransmitters produced in our gut. So actually our serotonin is produced in your gut and then goes through the blood-brain barrier into the brain. And so things when you're traumatized, your serotonin levels in your brain will get lower. But having a healthy gut flora, which is healthy, is important too, because that's where your neurotransmitters are produced. Things that will give you that, I know many of us are lactose intolerant, my mom is. So, but those are, like the fancy term is acidophilus. That's where you take those certain nutrients to help with your gut flora. So yogurt, cheese, stuff like that are all healthy. Exercise is important. Talking to your community spiritual leaders and just anybody that you look up to that can talk into your life is important. And don't go to gambling because that will be something that we could go to. The other things that will go to are drugs and alcohol. And that will definitely numb the pain, like you just don't even feel it. And we don't want that because those are not the ways that a warrior would deal with it. And then as a final resort, if you're still kind of depressed, and signs of depression are like decreased sleep or increased sleep, interest, if you're interested in guns and hunting and cars and you're no longer interested in that anymore, they call it a lot of big fancy terms anhedonia, but that means you're not interested in the things that you were interested in before. And then feelings of guilt, we call it siggy caps, and then the appetite is either increased or decreased. And then psychomotor, so like if you're moving, you could tell if a person's depressed, like and I'm not pointing at anybody or anything, but your physical motor skills are slower and you move slower. And then there's things that you could do physiologically to make yourself in a better state. That's like putting your arms and chest out and breathing good and standing strong. That'll make your state and your emotional state stronger too. Then as a final resort, if it's not getting better, like after a month or 2 months, and grief is something that we can't scientifically figure out, but it's different for every community, every nation, every person. But if it's getting to the point where you're 2-3 months and you're still depressed about it, then that might be a time to talk to the doctor about possibly starting a medication. But as a very last resort, though.
Thank you.
Good morning. I have an issue with prostate, slightly enlarged. As of my last visit to the doctor some years ago, I'm one of the guys that don't visit doctors very well. So what is it that you need to do to control it or reduce it in size in terms of?
But not the prostate's enlarged?
Yeah,
Okay.
Slightly enlarged, yeah.
So basically what that happens is that I'm trying to say this, every male will have prostate cancer, just so everybody knows that. I will get prostate cancer too. What we're trying to figure out right now in the medical world is what is the bad type of prostate cancer. So I will get it, everybody will get it, but we want to find out what the bad type is. And so that's if it's in your heritage, in your genealogy, and if somebody went through it in your family, then you should be tested a lot more. It does not mean we're sticking fingers up people's bums. It's actually a blood test that we do called PSA. And then if it's really bad, then we might have to do the finger thing too. But things to help with the prostate health, and if it gets the signs of an enlarged prostate is like when you were younger, well, we used to like pee on the fence. You'd be able to pee over the fence when you were younger. And then now you can't, your stream is decreased. And then the initiation of peeing takes a long time too. So you're sitting there for 20, 30 seconds before you start peeing. The other thing is if you are getting up 4 or 5 times at nighttime to go and urinate, those are all signs that the prostate's getting enlarged. Unfortunately, there's no real diet or anything that you could do. There are medications that we go to called Flomax, and then that will help dilate the prostate, because next time I'll have better imaging, but basically the prostate, you have your urethra, your kidneys, and then the urine is flowing through the prostate and then out through the penis. But if the prostate gets enlarged, it closes off that hole, and that's where you can't initiate. That's where the stream is not as strong as it was before. And we give the medication to let that hole get larger so that the urine could go through. And then we go to 2 different meds if the first one isn't working. And if that's not working, then we go to the surgical procedure, which is a simple procedure called a TURP. And that's where they take like it sounds barbaric, but it's like a little Dremel tool. They go through the head of the penis and then drill out a bigger hole for it. So I know I'm just being vivid with everything, but.
No, that's good.
I had a question. I got like does having your tubes tied affect direction? And if you wanted to reverse those tube ties, how hard would it be to get that back? And what are the risks of it?
Yeah, those are pretty good, very good questions. And I like it that we're open and honest about it too, and just being so vulnerable. And there's obviously no judgment in here. But there shouldn't be any troubles with erection, because all it's doing is just cutting off that you're not going to have a child. And then depending on who did the surgery and how the surgery is done, it is reversible. There are very skilled surgeons out there now that could tie it back up and reverse it. We do go into it saying that it's irreversible, but there are highly skilled surgeons that I would be more than willing to find out who that would be to help somebody with that. But it shouldn't affect erection or anything, though. To getting it all tied and put back together. Well, with surgery, there's always depending on if they're putting you to sleep, where they intubate you and put you to sleep, or they just kind of block off down below. So there's risks if they're intubating and putting you right out to sleep, because then you've got another doctor who's called an anesthesiologist, who are CMA president, Leon Fontaine, I believe. I knew him way back. He's an anesthesiologist. So there's the risk of surgery, infection, bleeding, and then that it may not work too. But if you're with a highly skilled surgeon, then it should work.
How simple is that procedure to get snipped, as they say?
To get the procedure done?
Yeah.
There's pretty simple now. They got even scalpelless surgeries done for it now too. And then, they do it all day long. It's like seeing a sore throat for a family doctor kind of thing.
Cool. Anybody else? Right here. Two of them, actually.
I recently lost a son, and that was on September. And when I heard about it, I was sick. I couldn't keep any food down for a while, and I haven't been able to take food in and have diarrhea. And I know they told me it was shock, but I don't know what it is.
Again, thank you again for sharing that too. Sorry to hear about your son. Really sorry about that. But I guess your question would be the chronic diarrhea like my mother had, and it's just not getting better. So that one would be important to get. If you came into my clinic now, I would do a stool sample just to make sure there's no infectious cause, which is usually the most common one. But the other important thing for men, especially Indigenous men, is, and I'm not saying you have this, but it is always, if there's any change in bowel habits, we have to rule out that nothing else is going on. The sinister cause would be the cancer stuff, colon cancer. So if that's not going away, then that needs to be checked. I'm going to get a colonoscopy as soon as I turn 50. I'd recommend that everybody can do that now too. But we do something now called a stool test, a FIT test. And so that looks for small particles of blood in the stool. I'm pretty sure they have that in Saskatchewan too. And then we do that every 2 years, where we bring it into Life Labs or to the laboratory to get tested. But if it's not getting better, you want to check out infectious cause, which is laboratory stuff, and then make sure that there's nothing else, the sinister one going on. But that's usually weight loss, night sweats, fevers, family history of it. We can be prone to colon cancer with heavy meat diets, and I want us to stay on meat diets because that's what we've always known. Fish, and eat a lot of fish and meat, but some of that, and then the hormones in milk could be causing colon cancer too. We're discovering a lot more. but having good water intake and good fiber intake as well. So you want good, bulky, solid stools that come out normal. We all poop, but we just never really talk about it with each other.
It's good. I've got a question actually right here that was handed to me. It's about STI, STD. How does one know if you have contracted these? What is the best way to go about finding out if you're infected? And how does one get treatment?
Sheesh, that should have been on my presentation. It wasn't. Good question again. So basically, if you have any symptoms of it, so symptoms would be if you've been with somebody, I guess snagging is what Don Burnstick was talking about, and then unprotected sex, and then if you have multiple partners, then you're at risk, and then if you're with anybody like a prostitute or whoever, I'm just being open and honest here, then you're at more risk for it too. So the signs of it usually is like if you discharge coming from the head of the penis, then if you have some sort of funky rash going on, then that's obviously a time to get checked out. And if you were with the questionable partner, then just talking about with your nurse practitioner, your nurse, or your family doctor, whoever is your healthcare person. And what they do for that, it's a simple pee test. So you urinate into a cup. And when you do that, that's looking for syphilis, that's looking for gonorrhea and chlamydia, those two specifically. And then then it's the blood test. So if you're worried about it, you do a pee test for gonorrhea, chlamydia. The blood test looks for HIV, hepatitis B, C, and syphilis. And then the other one is a swab. So it's a fancy term called a Sank smear, and that's looking for the herpes. So that's if like you got a bubbly lesion, the doctor pops it and then takes the special swab and puts it in a special solution and sends it out to the laboratory to confirm if that's herpes or not. And then treatment for it is azithromycin 1 gram. So that's 4 pills of Zithromax for that one's for chlamydia, and then Cefixime 800 milligrams, which is 2 pills for gonorrhea. And then syphilis is a whole different type of treatment. It goes to an infectious disease doctor. And then for herpes, it's just you take Valtrex daily, basically, if it comes back a lot.
Good morning, doctor. This is a non-medical question, but how do I get my name on your Lamborghini giveaway?
I should try to, if you could, I should try to meet some local healthcare people here too. And if there is a child who really wants to go to school and is in high school and then goes into medical school and graduates, then we should try to motivate them to get one for them. But mine specifically for the hiatus right now, because I'm like, oh man, they actually might motivate somebody. And I'm getting some messages from some young kids now and asking like, how do I do this and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Good morning. I'm Dennis Cook from South End. Since we're talking about men's issues here, a lot of men don't want to, to talk or touch on about menopause. Menopause, at what age and the signs of menopause, because it really affects, especially in a married life, eh? Probably not everyone, but I believe that every one of us are going to go through the menopause at a certain age.
Yeah.
Ito sa Sam sitnabyo in our career. And how do you deal with it? Is there a way, or I don't know if there's medication to that? That's my question this morning on menopause.
That's a good question too. So he was talking about menopause, and that would be probably the signs of low testosterone. For women, though, it's different. I won't go too much into that, but that's basically where they have a decrease in FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, coming from the brain, and then decreases estrogen in their body. They get the hot flashes and stuff. So the menopause would definitely be a sign of the low testosterone stuff, where you could get the moodiness, lethargic, you're a bit foggy in the brain, and so that's a simple test that we would check for that, and then replace it and see if that would help it. And then there's different things where we go through transitions in life, usually in their 40s or 50s, and that's just kind of transitioning from one stage of your life to another stage of your life. And some of us aren't ready for it. And sometimes it's just good to embrace your 40s and your 50s and your 60s and talking to myself because I'm trying to stay young, but I'm like, I just need to embrace my 40s and stop trying to hide my gray hair and all that stuff. But yeah, that would be the thing to get checked out for. I think that's it. These ones.
Yeah, I think that's it from the audience, but you've got a couple there.
Yeah, let's see. You might have to help me with the read.
Yeah, I'm not. I'll go ask her. Here.
Hi, I just had a question about osteoarthritis. Is there anything else I could take naturally besides like fish oil?
Yeah, so there's different kinds of arthritis. We got some really good Aboriginal, like where they deal with rheumatoid arthritis. The Haida people are prone to rheumatoid arthritis, and with another, I always say fancy term, it's called ankylosing spondylitis. So that's where your spine turns into a bamboo spine. And we have a gene in us because we got the good looking gene. We won the lottery with the tax-free stuff gene and everything else and the good skin. But we have something called HLA-B27 where that will also cause rheumatoid. But for osteoarthritis, and that's just repetitive use, like if I'm probably getting it in my left knee right now. And the only thing that I could truly do for it is where I won't run 1,000 kilometers, but I'll try to go swimming or bicycling or something where I'm not having the gravitational forces on my knees and my hips. So I kind of changed up the exercise a little bit. The other one is I'm overweight a bit too. So if I lose 10 pounds, then that will also decrease the forces on the knee, ankles, and hips by 40 pounds. So it's like this huge kind of thing where just a little bit of that will help. Keeping good core strength is important, but you're asking about supplements. I want to talk about it, but it's so hard for it because I did a study in my first degree of kinesiology where they did like collagen and all that stuff, and glucosamine was one. And glucosamine is basically a glucose molecule with a protein attached to it. And then when we digest it, it just turns into sugar. So that one doesn't really work. So it's basically weight loss and then lifestyle modification. But if it's rheumatoid arthritis, then that's different. That's a different type of treatment. But keeping a healthy diet, like what you said with fish oil and other things like that. And if you have it in your knee, there's things that you could do where they take, like if you're about to go for a knee replacement or you got it really bad in your knee or hip, it's usually taking regular Tylenol every 4 hours. Unfortunately, it's a medication, but over-the-counter one. Weight loss and then changing up the exercise routine a little bit. And then you could also do an injection with hyaluronic acid, which is like the fluid within your knee compartment, and you inject that back into there, or cortisone injections, which is the last resort, though.
Hello.
Inflammation too. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Sugar is like our enemy so most of the time. That'll actually cause a lot of inflammation and arthritis. I apologize for interrupting you there.
It's okay. My question was, I've noticed that not many men like to go to regular checkups, and I wanted to see what you'd say to them to.
Yeah, no, that's a good question too. So number one, I truly want you guys to be comfortable with your doctor. I don't know if some of us can be pricks and some of us are assholes or condescending, meaning we're looking down, but I hate that kind of stuff. Like it should not be happening. I'm sure they're pre-screened if they come around here, but I do want to find out any of the bad apples though. But you want to be comfortable with the doctor. It does not mean when you come in for a full physical that we're going to be feeling your genitals and testicles. I don't even do that. I usually just say I'm not going to look at anything unless you're concerned about a lump or bump on your testicle, then we'll take a look at it. But we'll do it in dignity where we lie you flat and have you in a drape just like we would treat a female and not just like make you drop your pants and blah, blah, blah. So we want dignity with it. And then we're not looking at any of the private parts unless we truly have to, and then that you're concerned about it. But to get your heart listened to, especially the COVID stuff that we went through, some of these docs are still doing telephone calls. And that it should be 80% now at the point of time that they're seeing people physically 80% and 20% phone calls. And we are regulated by the college, where if they just don't want to listen and do 100% phone calls, then that's not proper medicine either. Because I've had sergeants from the RCMP or whatever come in, I laid my stethoscope on his heart, and I knew something was wrong. The guy 2 weeks later had a full pacemaker installed, and I didn't get that from a telephone conversation. I got that from laying my stethoscope on his heart. And so going over any skin stuff and just talking about it comfortably with your doctor should be something that we all should do. And a lot of it's blood tests now, and then intervention with colon cancer.
So the two questions here, they kind of go together, I guess. Does the size of the prostate make a difference during sexual activity? And when is it not safe to take Viagra or Cialis?
Yeah. So the Viagra, Cialis, the safety profile for it is if you've got a major heart condition. You could still take different types of medication and still have sex if you do have a heart condition. That's where so you don't take it if you're having any nitro spray. So anybody who has angina is where if you walk up a set of stairs and you can feel your heart like there's chest pain there, then that's called angina. And there's ones called stable angina. So that's and then there's unstable angina, which is the dangerous one, which is where we probably had people in our community who had a heart attack and we heard about it. That's the unstable angina stuff. So angina with nitro spray, you can't take the Cialis or Viagra. But if you do have a heart condition and it's pretty kind of severe, you still can use Muse therapy. So that's where they put the medicine into the penis and then it locally acts in the penis, but not the rest of the body. And then there's injections that they could do. And I was mentioning that the needle is so small and thin that you could barely feel it, but you're injecting directly into the penis so you could have an erection and still enjoy your life, because we all came from sex. So it's an important part of our life for sure. And then did I miss anything else? Oh, the size of the prostate. It shouldn't affect anything during with intercourse, but it will affect like I was mentioning, the urination symptoms. We call it lower urinary tract symptoms, which is the decreased stream, the troubles initiating the pee, and then getting up at night like 4 or 5 times to urinate. Then that's signs that the prostate's getting large. And the prostate's used for like with our semen production for the fluidity. It has like sugars in there so that the sperm could swim and all that stuff. So that's why we have our prostate in men.
Okay. Okay, one last one here. How soon can I get to work after hernia operation?
So usually they're taken, like on the safe side, 6 weeks. But the hernia stuff, like it usually presents in your left or right groin, and that could happen just from heavy lifting, from wisdom. Your body just gets a bit older, and then you get the hernia. Just means that there's a piece of the inside of your kind of abdomen that comes out, but then that could get constricted, and then you get then it's dangerous and it's an emergency. But usually 6 weeks, and it's all about intra-abdominal pressure. So like that's where you could hold your stomach muscle tight. That will increase it. If you have a bowel movement, that increases intra-abdominal pressure as well. And then heavy lifting. So lifting correctly, lifting properly. I know like a lot of us are bravado and we'll try to lift really bad, but you want to make sure that you're doing it proper so you don't get further hernia symptoms.
I believe that is it.
That was
for
amazing.
question.
Awesome.
Yeah, give yourselves a round of applause here, and Dr. Apinga for coming up here and sharing all that medical knowledge with us. Masi. Oh, good stuff. Good on you guys, man. Give yourselves another round of applause. To the questions you ask, that's something you do behind closed doors with a doctor, and a lot of we're doing some testing in the back corner there, HIV awareness. Syphilis is on the rise in Saskatchewan. It's important to get tested. So if you want to get tested back there, go see Lindsay. And we're going to move on to our next presentation here this morning. We've got Roots of Grief and Loss. He is works with MBC. He's worked with my dad for many, many years. He's my uncle. I'm named after him, Willie. But, one of the things when I was a kid growing up, they'd come down to La Loche, they'd do the hockey tournaments. And I always credit this. I've never gone to school to do any kind of broadcasting, and it's just kind of come natural to me. And I credit Mr. Wilbert Billette, and my late dad, and all that good stuff. But we're going to listen to him and hear his story here today. So let's give him a warm welcome. Buffalo River Dene Nation out of L'Orange, Asicho.
He wants me to sing. First of all, thank you, Meadow Lake Tribal Council, for inviting me to speak to you. It's amazing to see how many men are in here. This is the first time I've seen all men conference. I've been to a lot of conference, and this is the first time I've seen this many men and young men at this conference, and it's amazing to see. First of all, I would like to thank the elders for lifting the pipe up this morning. For our good thoughts and safe travels home to our families. I also would like to thank and commend Meadow Lake Tribal Council organizers for the invitation. Meadow Lake works hard to keep their membership safe. You're doing a great service for the people you represent and serve. Today, I want you to think about Brian Gallagher. His daughter was murdered in Saskatoon in 2020. I'd like you to think about Colton Bushy and his family. I'd like you to think about James Smith Cree Nation, where 10 people got killed. I also like to think about Charlene Aubuchon and her family, and of course, the residential school survivors as well. I bring greetings on behalf of my family, my wife, daughter, my grandchildren, Hallie 13, Haiti 7, Kyrie 5, Emery 4. I was married in L'Orange in 1998, 24 years, but we've been together for 34 years. My wife is a 60 scoop survivor and also a cancer survivor. I'm a residential school survivor from Beauval. In 2003, my sister Joan was murdered in Dillon. She had 4 kids. She had little ones at the time: Sharona, Cody, Kasha, and Brianna. Before she was murdered, we were planning a wedding in September because she was murdered in July of 2003. But before that, we were planning a wedding. She wanted to get married to have a better life for her kids. My sister was a loving person. My nephews and my nieces were terribly traumatized. my sister Joan got murdered. She was murdered 3 months after my father died of cancer. We were still grieving and mourning my father's death when she was killed. Now I was left with only one sister, Lorette. Going through the justice system was a difficult one. Of course, we all wanted justice for Joan. I'll talk a little bit more about the justice system a bit. On December 23rd, 2019, my daughter Sheena was murdered on the outskirts of La Ronge. My wife's birthday was on the 22nd. She got murdered on the 23rd. It'll be 3 years in December. How we went through Christmas holidays during that time, I can't even remember. How do you tell your grandchildren that your mom is never coming home? 4 people are charged with kidnapping and first-degree murder. 3 of them asked for bail. 3 of them were denied bail. We had to sit through a preliminary hearing where they want to know if there's enough evidence to take it to trial. And to sit through a preliminary hearing and listening to all the gory details of what happened to my daughter that night is horrific. What they did to her was horrific, horrible, if you listen to the preliminary hearing. And we have to go through, the trial date's not even set after 3 years. Like I said, in December, it'll be 3 years. We're still going through the process. There wasn't even a trial date set. There's no pre-trial conference yet. So we have no idea when the trial is going to be for the 4 people that are involved in my daughter's murder. There was actually 5. But the 5th one went to jail, got picked up, and he just about got killed in prison. And the major crime unit told me that it was because of what happened to your daughter. What happened to my sister and what happened to my daughter, you question your faith. You question your fatherhood. What could I have done better? Why me? That kind of stuff. Now, I'd just like to go through the justice system. I just read on Facebook that Brian Gallagher, his daughter Megan Gallagher, was killed in Saskatoon, and now there's 8 people charged with her murder. That's a lot of people. How can it not be first degree and kidnapping? The person that was responsible was convicted of manslaughter and only got 9 years in prison. Today, he's a free man and enjoying life. While my sister and the kids continue to live in trauma, their lives will never be the same. As time went by, we had to deal with the parole board. The person that was responsible asked for parole, and we had to go to a hearing. During the hearing, I begged the parole board to keep him in jail because he got 9 years and he wants to get out early. I told him at the time that he didn't have any mercy on my sister. Why should you have mercy on him? Within months, He was a free man. During this horrific stabbing spree in James Smith Cree Nation a month and a half ago, I heard leaders talk about our justice system. I heard one leader say from the Prince Albert Grand Council that our justice system is fractured. He stopped short of saying that it was broken. I heard a new leader of the Conservative Party just now. He just got elected. I can't pronounce his name. He was asking the government to overhaul our justice system, and I agree. Our justice system, as I see it, favors the people that commit horrific crimes and not the victims. The parole board know that criminals will reoffend, yet they let them loose. If the person responsible for that mass stabbing was still behind bars, 10 innocent people will still be alive today on James Smith Cree Nation. Credit for time served should be abolished. If a person is convicted on second-degree murder or first-degree murder and gets 25 years, let them serve 25 years. Why let them out early? Parole board knows that they're going to reoffend, and they sent out a press release saying that this guy is a high risk to reoffend, yet they let him out. Getting out of jail on good behavior should also be abolished. If our justice system, the way it is, make no mistake, our people will continue to die violent death. Statutory release is another one. That should be also abolished. If they were convicted for 2 years, went to jail for 2 years, they served 2/3 of their sentence, you're a free man. So the parole board, if I heard a young gentleman say that, I don't know how your son died, but if your relatives, your son, your daughter are murdered, there is a guarantee that you're going to go through the parole board because you're going to have to deal with the parole board. The way the parole board is right now, as I see it, it's not fractured, but it's broken. People will continue to die. Our people will continue to die if they do not overhaul our justice system in Canada. Our justice system, as I see it, is broken. It's very difficult. It's a struggle every day. I have 4 young kids, 4 grandkids that I have to raise, me and my wife, because the dad is working 2 weeks at a time. We have to keep the kids 2 weeks at a time. And it's a struggle. I have to go to work. My wife had to retire so that we can raise our kids. It's not easy, ladies and gentlemen. It's not easy at all. It's not easy to see your nephews and your nieces living through trauma. Sometimes they cry, and many times they cry, and I know why. I don't even have to ask. My grandkids, they're kids. I know that they're hurting inside. I know they're hurting because you can see them, you can see it on their small little faces. They cry at night. And I get up every morning, or whenever they're crying, to go comfort them. It's very difficult to do that. And then you gotta wake up at 7:30 in the morning, get ready to go to work. But before you go to work, you gotta make sure that the kids have their breakfast, that you clothe them and you send them off to school, then you go to work. That's part of our lives now. So in this country, if we can get all the leaders together with one voice, maybe we can change the justice system. Because like I said, the justice system favors the people that do crime, and it doesn't favor the victims. The victims are always left behind to deal with the trauma. And then when they're out of jail, they got their free lives. They can go on living while we still live in trauma. And that's the way we are today back in L'Orange. I've been married for, like I said, for a long time. And it's very difficult. We wanted to live a good life in retirement, wanted to see the world, wanted to go places. I can't even go to Giant Tiger without thinking about my kids. How can I go anywhere else in the world? So it's very difficult, ladies and gentlemen. It's very, very difficult. It's hard, but with the help of the Creator and the support that we have with Meadow Lake Tribal Council, the support from your friends and family, you keep going, and it takes the burden off your back a little bit, and you move forward. And that's what I'm trying to do right now, trying to move forward, trying the best I can to raise my grandchildren. There's 4 of them. I have trouble with one because I can understand what she's going through. She's 13 years old, and she has a lot of hate in her heart just by the way she talks. I go to ICFS to get some support. It's very difficult to turn her around because she doesn't like authority, doesn't like authority figures. I don't know where to start with her. But we have support, and we'll try to move forward. So that's my story. For people that don't know me, my name is Willie Billette. I'm from Buffalo River Dene Nation under the Meadow Lake Tribal Council. I've been in communications for now, give or take 30 years. Robert Morasti, he's in the crowd here today. He was also my mentor and showed me the ropes, even though he doesn't know how to talk Dene, but he was a good teacher. So with that, gentlemen, that's my story, and I thank you for listening to me today. Merci, Cho.
Test. Hey, Masi Cho, Willie Billette, let's give him another round of applause here to come up here and share his story with us. You know, it's a lot of hurt he's got to deal with. So with that, you know, it's been a heavy morning. I'm just going to leave everyone to let everything sink in. We're going to have lunch at noon. So we'll take a break and maybe hang out, talk amongst yourself. If there's anybody is triggered by anything, we've got our support workers. You can stand up here. Yeah, right here. If you want to talk to somebody, there you go. And we'll have lunch at 12 o'clock. So Masi Cho, thank you for the all the respect and the attention you give all the speakers here this morning. Willie. Couple door prizes? Not yet? Okay. Okay. During lunch, okay. Okay. So for door prizes, once everybody's back in, gonna have lunch, we're gonna give tickets. So make sure you're here. There's gonna be a couple of ladies walking around with tickets. And then we're gonna have a few-minute presentations here during lunch hour while everyone has lunch. I'm gonna see if Lindsay, looks like they're busy over there, but Dale Apsis is gonna come up, tell us a bit about his the program and what he does with SAS prevention. You know, again, it's all about, and he gave me this card here. Just gonna go over a bit about syphilis, stages of syphilis. So time since infection, 3 to 90 days, sores often painless or hidden, swollen lymph nodes. Then there's stage 2, rash, fever, lack of energy and appetite, sore throat, hair loss, painless sores, headache, hard to see or hear. These are the stages of syphilis. Dale, are you leaving? Okay. Chase you down there. 30 years, no symptoms, but damage to nervous system, bones, and organs continues, and then serious organ damage, that is 10 to 30 years. So this afternoon, we're going to hear from Robert Morasti is going to be right after lunch. He's going to be speaking to us and talking about his story, the roots of guilt and shame. And then Chief Cadmus Delorme is going to be here at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock. And then Craig McCollum is going to be pushed to 3:45. We're going to have another feedback session, go around with the mic, hear a little bit of Dene, a little bit of Cree, a little bit of this, Michif, Tor Lyon, Yati Beyatire Altizi, Ayitorian Doritas. And then during this afternoon, you saw the 2 moves there, the dance moves, viral on TikTok. Leon McGilvery, he's going to speak for a few minutes this afternoon. So all the TikTok stars, who scrolls a TikTok at night? I know I do. Keeps me up till 2 a.m. on a school night. Okay, paper towel for the men's washroom here. If any of the workers, Civic Center workers, can help us out. Once again, we are live on Facebook. There's some Zoom people on Zoom that are attending. And then we're Baninchuritan, Shuna Durachta. Hey, hello there, did I Baninchur no haluti and not Daisy. Pat C. Pachanak there. Which dial? 90 what? 89.9 FM. All the broadcasting. Masi chot I Nodorat Asi Baninchurzan. Pat Hashkat Lawe Jolju. Jano how play by play dos near Daho Asi. Nodorat Asi. So hello to everybody. Hello Chucky if you're listening. Chucky Sarit Ade. Who else? Who else do you want to say hi to, Joel? All my friends, yeah. Jay, Jamie, Jeremy, Sam Theo, Samantha. It's my sweetheart, Samantha. Hey. Yeah, they're making me blush up here. Testing.
I was thinking, since we got like 10, 15 minutes, we should get Leon to come and do this.
That's what
Okay, let's do that. I'll go get him.
Okay.
But I need to get Geneva.
Then we'll go after. We'll do. Where's the music here? Oh, you got, okay. So I'm gonna ask, we've got about 10 more minutes to lunch. If you wanna make your way back in here, I'm gonna call up Leon, see if we got his video here. He's gonna show up his viral TikTok video that his dance moves. And then we're gonna have Dale Apsis. He's gonna do his presentation on SaaS Prevention Institute, what areas they focus. No, in that computer, I believe. Dale? Come see Patricia. It's a YouTube video, right, Leon? Okay. Okay, Geneva? Okay. So we're gonna watch a video, and then Delano's video. Are we gonna pull that up during lunch hour? Yeah. So once everyone comes back in here, we're going to have the ladies walking around with blue tickets. This is going to be for the door prizes. So once everyone comes back in here, make sure we get a ticket. They missed the this morning. Not yet. We're going to start it here once everyone comes back in during lunch hour. And you've got to be here this evening to win some of these prizes. Some hair clippers. You can cut your nephew's hair. Just tell him you're a good barber. Some binoculars. If you're a hunter. This winch, 4,000-pound winch. Hola. Pretty good. Saw sharpening kit. Chainsaw. More clippers. Oh, a knife set. SJ. And then we've got this fishing gear over here. This ice fishing hut. I believe so. I believe so. But you can't take the mannequin, though. I mean, just take the clothes. Yeah. I had a joke, but I leave it. Extension cord. Let's see what here. Oh, these little tool kits here. They look like oil cans from the oil can of Fort McMurray. Tapwe. So, are we ready to go? Okay, gentlemen, we'll get everyone to have a seat here. And we've got Leon, he's from Big River or Saddle Lake? Both? It's a small river, he said. He just traveled anywhere. So let's give him a warm welcome here, Leon McElroy. He's going to say a few words and then he's going to show us his video that went viral.
Thank you. Say a few words. My name is Leon McGilvery. I'm originally from Saddle Lake, Alberta. And I transferred bands to Big River First Nation in 2000. I grew up in Edmonton, and all my brothers and sisters were into every drug possible. And there's gangsters at my house just about every night, picking up my brothers, going to do the crime, doing drugs right beside me. I'm in the next room, and I was 13 years old. And I said to myself, I got to get out of here. There's too much craziness going on. And I went and told my mom when I was 13. I told her, Mom, I want to move. And I was just 13 years old. And she said, okay, where do you want to go? I said, I want to go to Whitefish. I want to go to your reserve where Musham and Gookum and everyone's all over there. And she said, okay, you can go. And even to this day, I used to say to my mom, hey, I used to not get mad at her. My mom recently passed, but I used to say to my mom, Mom, why did you let me leave when I was 13 years old? I was 13, you let me make a decision to move all the way next province all by myself. And she kind of got mad at me. She said, you wanted that. You chose that. I said, Mom, but I was 13. Then she said, well, but look at you now. When I lost my mom, all my brothers and sisters came there. Every time they come to Big River First Nation, they always come to me, and all my brothers are in gangs. They're in and out of the penitentiary. They're up for 4 days at a time, 5 days at a time. And when they come to me, to my reserve, my house, I'm the only one out of all of us who have a house. We have 2 vehicles and a quad, and they don't acknowledge me, or they don't anything. They think oh, he's just acting good. Look, just he thinks he's rich. I'm not rich. I don't even have any money in my account. And that's how they are, eh? My own family says you're just acting good, or you're acting better than us. I said, no, I just took a different path. So about this video, I'll tell you guys about this video real quick. We worked all week. Friday, I told my wife, let's go grab some groceries. Let's go pay the satellite bill and pay the cell bills. And she's like, okay. So we're coming home and we had about maybe, I don't know, $200 left out of paying everything, eh? And she goes, what do you want to do? You want to go to the casino? I said, no, let's just go home. So we're on our passing away through Canwood, and my wife says to me, you want to sit on the patio? You want to have a couple drinks? I said, okay. So I bought 6 Coors Light. She bought 6, I don't know, Twisted Teas or whatever. And then we put away the groceries, and the kids went visiting at their auntie. It was just me and my wife on the patio. We lit the little fire pit, and we were just sitting there having a beer. And I was sitting there, and my wife says, you ever notice every time we're in the bar with our friends, all their wives want to say, hey, let's go dance, Leon. Let's go dance, Leon. Because their friends, their husbands, or their partners didn't know how to dance. And I thought, my wife said, how many friends you have on Facebook? I said, I got 390 or something. You should teach them all how to dance. I said, okay, I'll teach them how to dance. And it wasn't even rehearsed or anything. I was just 5 beers in, feeling good. Eh? When you're 5 beers, I'm going to show them, yeah, here, what song are you playing? I was thinking, what's a good song? Fleetwood Mac, Gypsy. So I put it on, and I was sitting there thinking, okay, I got it, honey. She goes, you're not even going to practice? Don't need to practice. So then I said, okay, let's turn it on. Let's play the video, please. Here it is, guys. Take a look at it. If none of you guys know how to dance, this is the easiest 5 dance steps ever. They don't know how to dance. Excuse the one swear word in there. Sorry. Numbers that we had is 10 ways to make a woman how to laugh. Well, here, let's give you 5 quick moves on how to dance. Why not? I'm going to help you guys out. So we'll start off here. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So if you watch my legs, my body, just start off like this. Right? Pretty easy, pretty simple. Then you throw in your arms. Right? You want to spice things up, eh? Throw in the lips. Throw in a little wiggle of the hip. Mix it up. Don't beat around the bush. What people like is when they're watching you point. And it all comes down to you. When you know that it doesn't oh, how cute you are. Someone's looking at you over there. You know they're looking. The number 1 rule, look behind you. I don't know why you look behind us, but don't look at me. There, 5 simple rules to dance. But the lips is number 1. There you have it.
Show him Karen's dance. Show him how Karen got west.
Karen, how she got west? She was dancing in Uncle Charlie. That's in PA. Straight up and down. West, fucking you are done. You are sold. One more time. 5. Lower even. Done. You got it. There you go. You know, I still watch that video now. I just say to myself, man, you're dumb. But I'll continue. Right after we did that video, I shut my phone off. I shut off my, I got out of Facebook. And I started having a beer. Well, we started having a beer, and we're probably down to maybe 1 or 2 drinks left. Well, I had 2. My wife probably had like 4 left because she drinks slow. So then people kept coming to my house from my reserve that barely ever come to my house, like Freddie Morn and Percy Morn, and they all just started, hey, I seen your video, and oh yeah, it was pretty. And I was just thinking, oh, what's up then? Oh, no, I just came chill with you and whatever. So about, they started getting me a couple beers. So 11 o'clock at night, 11:45, I got on, my wife said, let's go to bed now. Let's go to bed. Tell the kids come back home. So I told my son, Jordan, grab this. Your 2 kids are smaller. I told him, bring them back to the house. We're going to bed. So anyways, my wife went to the washroom, you know, getting ready for bed. Put on my soccer shirts. I got on the couch, put my Facebook on. I was like, what the hell is going on here? Bling, 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 bling. Holy shit, something's wrong with my phone. And I checked my video. One notification I checked. And it said 345,000 views. I was like, what the hell? Friend requests, 493. What? Inboxes, 298. What the hell's going on? Your notifications, 284. I said, honey, something's wrong with Facebook. She's like, what do you mean? My phone's going crazy. Look at all these things here. Shut up. Go put that away. Let's go to bed. And I logged out. Went to bed, woke up about 10 in the morning. I went outside. I went and checked I went to get something in the vehicle that I forgot. I was losing something. So I went and sat on the patio, grabbed my phone, logged into Facebook. 797,000 views. And just as I was looking at my 797,000 views, my daughter comes out of their room. Dad, I made a TikTok. Look, 112 views. And I look, 112? I gave her my phone. Dad, as if. Mom's just about 800,000. I freaked out. Like, holy crap. And when I got to 1 million, it was crazy. I honest to God sat and I said, 345,000 last night. On an arm at 1 million. And you know what? There's real good positive things about that video. And there's also negative. You know, you have the haters. And the ugly thing is, I had so many people message me, oh, I love your video. Oh, this is, and then this one guy, oh, fuck you, it wasn't even funny. Sorry, my language. Or it wasn't even that funny. And then the thing about us natives, we focus on that one little negative. Even though there's 650,000 people over here loving it, but that one, that's a thing about us. I don't get why we do that. There's so much positive about it. Then the one time one person says something, we give them that attention. I don't get that. That's how it was for me, and it bugged me. So after all this, I made this. I was at 2 million. 2 million. My phone started ringing. Boom. We need you to do an interview. PA Now phone. We need you to do an interview. Battleford, Edmonton. Texas got a hold of me. Australia got a hold of me. New Zealand got a hold of me. So I did all these interviews. I did them live on Facebook. I think I did like 8 of them on Facebook. And they said, okay, well, we're going to need your address and we're going to need your banking information. And all these, so this one time we went to the casino, and I think I had like maybe $380 in my account. I told my wife, here, can you go pull out 100 for me? I'll give you 40, I'll try 60. She went there, pulled out money. I knew I had 380 in my account, and she comes up to me. I pulled out 100 and you have 940 in there. So what? Okay, then right on. So put that. We were winning, playing about an hour, just playing 40 cents, 60 cents bet. The next thing you know, I said, here, honey, let's try another 100. Since there's 980 in there, go pull out 140. $140. Okay. So being me, I gave her 60, I took 80. You have $1,295 in there now. What? So that's how my money kept growing. I kept wondering, what the hell? So I made 100 t-shirts. This is the best part. I made 100 t-shirts. I thought, okay, I can't send to US people. I have to only do Canada. So I made 100 t-shirts. And I should have brought one of those t-shirts because I still have like 3. I saved 3. And I made 100 t-shirts anyways. And this one lady, she inboxes me. Hi, how can I get 2 of your t-shirts? Don Bernsick had a story last night, and I can relate to what he went through, because laughter is the best medicine, right? So he had somebody message him saying that they just about committed suicide. And I was going to stand up and tell my story last night, but I don't want to steal his thunder. So I told him after his show, and he goes, tell people the story. So here it is. This lady wanted 2 t-shirts. And she said to me, how can I get 2 t-shirts? I said, just give me your address, give me your name. I'll ship them out to you. I'm actually shipping out some here in like 2 hours, 12 noon. I'm going to take them to Debden. I'm shipping them out. She said, okay. So she said, oh, her name is this. She's from here, address. Okay. I sent her a picture. To be shipped out in 2 hours. You should get them in 3 days. And she said to me, I need your e-transfer. I said, okay. I sent her my e-transfer. I said, okay, you'll receive your package in like 3 days. Thank you very much for the purchase. Hi. Then she messaged me back. I sent your money already, and I put a little bit extra in there for you. And I was like, okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. So I didn't think nothing of it, I'm just I had to set out 12, 13 shirts that day. So I got all my packages ready. Took them to Debden. And on our way to Debden, I said to my wife, honey, check my account, see if all those people put the money through. Yep. Honey, one lady sent you $2,000. So what? One lady sent you $2,000. I was like, what do you mean $2,000? She goes, yeah. And she gave me her name. So I looked back at the messages, that lady that said, I sent you a little extra. And I messaged her back. I said, hi, you sent me a little bit too much. You sent me $2,000. And I put 3 question marks. And she said, do you have a phone number I can phone you at? I was like, yep. 306, I gave her 46844. I sent her my number. And she phoned me. And she was crying on the phone. Oh my God, I can't believe you called me. I can't believe you called me. I was like, yeah, well, I like to reach out to my fans. And, may I ask you, why are you crying? And she said to me, yeah, I lost my daughter 4 months ago. 4 months ago. And she said, my daughter passed on. I don't want to say how, but I swear to God, my days are dark. I don't even come out of my room. I'm starving myself to death. Truthfully, I haven't took a shower in 2 weeks. I just don't want to be here anymore. I was like, whoa. And now I seen your video. And that's the first time I ever smiled and I ever laughed. And the funny thing was, I was watching in the dark and I was just laughing by myself in the dark. And this video gave me so much power, so much laughter, so much energy. I swear to God, you make me love life again. And I know I know I'll never stop grieving for my daughter, but I just want to thank you very much. You know, I'll tell you the honest to God truth, she said. I was going to wake up today and I was going to take my life. And you know, I have like 9,800 in my account. I don't know where that money would have went if I would have passed away this morning. That's why I gave you $2,000. And she goes, what size shirt did you send me? I said, size small and a large. I'm taking that size small to my baby's grave and I'm putting it there. And I know when I put it there, she's going to put it on in heaven and I'm going to wear mine. So me and my daughter can have matching t-shirts for that day. Thanks to you. Holy crap. That hit my heart. That honest to God hit my heart. And that was a beautiful how she said everything, like how she felt and everything. And truthfully, I never really knew what grieving was or whatever. And the past 2 years, I lost a lot of people. I just lost my mom 6 months ago. And I was telling you guys yesterday, like I turned to depression. I turned to alcohol, like lots, like not whiskey or like just sitting there, pity party drink for myself. I don't have no friends over, it's just me. And I didn't know how to grieve. So when I was drinking, Stevie Nicks Nation, they shared my video. They got me 15.9 million views. My Facebook page got me 9.9 million views. So I'm at like 25, 26 million, whatever. I messaged Stevie Nicks fan page when I was drunk. I said, hey, can you please delete my video? Are you sure? Is there a problem? Can you please delete my video? And that's like, I was mad. I was depressed. That's why it's not on Facebook anymore. I don't have it anymore. But some person shared it on YouTube. I don't even know who that is. So, but I'm glad it's there. It's always going to be there. I can go there and look for it anytime I want. And that's how everything became to where it is today. You know, I haven't been able to go talk to anyone. Like I have a lot of things I can talk about. I can relate to all the things that we're being talked to. Like I have little stories to share. I have a lot of stories. Like I'm diabetic. I have diabetes awareness. I can talk about. I wish us men would know about that or learn about it, because us natives are the ones who are prone to get it. Like we're, because of our eating habits, our lifestyle, and everything. And I have a real wicked story on diabetes. I also have another good story, another good topic on gangsters and drugs, how I grew up, what I saw, why I got out of it, Edmonton, Alberta. And I shared those with Kawakatoos First Nation. I went to Wichican, I went to Pelican, I went to Sandy, and I had a lot of good positive feedback. But lately, I haven't been wanting to do anything. And this is probably the first thing I've been out since I lost my mom and I came here. And I tried to come here so I can get some good positive information, because I'm grieving. I know I'm not doing it the right way. I know I'm gonna have to flip the script pretty soon, right? Like everybody else. The way people grieve, it's different. Like this older fella I'm looking at, he's probably dealing with stuff. He deals with them on his own. He could be hunting, or this guy could be playing sports, or this guy could be drinking, or this guy could be marijuana. Like I heard an elder tell me before, there's no wrong way of grieving. Everybody does it their own way. But I haven't had a good time or a good laugh. That's that stupid little video again, just brought up my spirits again. But with that, my name is Leon McGilvery from Bigger First Nation, and I'm strong, and I'm going to get through this. I know it. And I know all you guys out here are all strong. And I know whatever you guys are going through, you will get through it too. If not, I need $20 because it's GST today. No, I was kidding. Thank you very much, guys, for listening. Boy, Leon McGilvery, hi.
Masi Cho, Leon, thank you for sharing that. So with that, I'm going to ask, where's the elder here? We got to bless the food. I'm going to stop everyone that got food. And jump off I do apologize. Rod Thomas here. We're just going to bless the food real quick. Anybody who's chewing it, spit it back out. Hey, I'm just kidding here. Swallow.
Okay, my friends, we'll thank God first, our Father in heaven, for giving us this day, to bless our day, protect us, and guide us through the day. Thank Him for all His blessings, and we'll thank the cooks too for feeding us. And now we'll ask our Father to bless our food, which we're about to receive in your bounty through Christ, your Son, our Savior, with the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Hi, tapui masicho. So with that, we're going to have the elders go up. I think the elders are being fed, by the way, but let's make our way on up here, have some Indian tacos, and get some food in you. Have some lunch. Oh, Dennis, did he eat yet? Okay, go eat first. Yeah, well, we'll sneak him in front. We'll sneak him in front because we're gonna listen to some music here. Anybody who's watching live here on Facebook here, we're gonna cut off here and we'll be back for the afternoon part of the men's conference. So, aho masicho, enjoy your lunch.